I feel it's my calling to do that.
Because you are a soother, because you are an uplifter, because of the bigness of it. We would like to say to you that the calling that you're feeling is the calling into the vortex. And you can use any excuse in the world to get in there. So, do you think that you got into the vortex because you figured this out and got in on that topic? Or were you just in there and then that topic came as an inspiration once you were in there?
I have reason to believe that I am a Holocaust victim, reincarnated Holocaust victim, if that stands with you.
Well, it certainly is reasonable. That's a lot of people. That's why they have strong feelings about things. But here's the thing that we really want you to hear. You will really like this, or at least we will really like it. When we talked about this a little bit earlier, when you or anyone makes their transition into non-physical, they leave behind all the stuff they picked up on this physical trail. Really, all resistance, anything that isn't a perfect blending with this source energy and pure positive energy, this high, good feeling, non-resistant energy, is really left behind. It just can't make the vibrational jump. So what happens is, many times, is that people don't really make that transition of releasing resistance until they actually have what humans call their death experience. But it is our promise to you, it happens every single time. So as we're visiting with you, we want to appeal to your logic by asking you to confirm with us what your understanding of negative emotion is. In other words, when you feel negative emotion, what does it always mean? What does it mean to you?
That's difficult to define. It means different things at different times.
Well, we're reaching for the law-based and simple premise. Your guidance system is what it is, and it's the juxtaposition, it's the relationship between what your source knows and what you know about the specific subject that's active within you in any moment in time. So when you're focused upon something and you feel negative emotion about the subject you're focused upon, what is that telling you about your guidance system?
Well,
it's telling you that the source within you is not in agreement with this thought. It's telling you that the way you're seeing it is different than the way the source within you is seeing it every single time. Now, if you can accept that premise, it will carry you very far as this is unfolding for you. Because what that means is your inner being, Esther will say to us, Abraham, come and talk to me about this. And we say, we're talking to you about this, but you're not hearing it. And Esther will say, once she comes back into, but it didn't feel like you were talking to me about it because I couldn't hear you. And we say, we were talking to you about it, but you were in the vibration that wouldn't allow you to hear it. But it doesn't mean we weren't talking to you about it. So then Esther will say, then I think that you should care enough about me, she doesn't really mean this, to lower your vibration enough that I can hear you. Couldn't you just give me a break? Can't you come out here and talk to me in a way that I can really hear you? And of course she knows we're not going to do that. And of course we never do that. Because if we did that, she'd stop doing the work. And so what we're appealing to your logic about is, do you really think that if your inner being will not join you in one negative thought, that your inner being would allow you to reemerge into non-physical and then send you back with the same grudge you had last time?
I don't know.
Not at all, not at all, not at all. We know, and we are here to tell you that never, ever, ever, ever happens. You don't come back with renewed interest in pushing against something, but you could come back with renewed interest to soothe something. And that's why you feel it so powerfully. Not because you didn't have to be a victim with a grudge. You didn't have to be a victim with the tragedy of it. You didn't have to be that in order to come back resolved. In other words, you're a source energy creator coming back wanting to soothe, and that happens to be a topic that people seem to refuse to want to be soothed about. So the reason that we're talking to you in the way that we are is because if you can find a way of soothing yourself on that subject, then you know you're in the vortex. This is what we were talking about earlier. Power of influence. People say, Abraham, it seems that you don't want me to get involved in protests against injustice. And we say, that's right, we are not encouragers of that. And they say, well, then how will things ever get better? And we say, because as you are faced with the injustice of it, whether it touched you up close and personal, or whether it touched someone else you know, or whether, we don't mean injustice, we mean something unwanted, something touched you or someone that you care about, or even as in this example, on a bigger scale, more millions of people, as something like that touches you, there is an equivalent solution that is born out of it. And the solution is real, and source energy is on it. And so, but why doesn't it manifest? In other words, it's interesting, isn't it? Oh, this is a very good conversation. We'll just savor it a little to ourselves right now. So this all ties in with this effect on manifestation that is really what this creative process is all about for all of you. So let us ask you some questions just to lay a really good premise here. So do you believe that source energy exists and is aware of what's going on in physical form?
Yes.
And do you accept, or does it resonate with you, that out of that contrast is born a vibrational reality that is the precursor of a manifested reality that is coming?
I don't understand that.
Well, we're going to slow down and give this to you because you are ready to understand it. And as you do, then you're going to find the resolution in all of this. And we get to move into a new place where we've never been before. So we're just going to take a little bit of time to do this. So here's how it goes. As humans, as you explore the contrast of your time-space reality, when you know what you don't want, what you do want precedes you vibrationally. It's like praying for it or asking for it. But you're not asking for it with your words. You're asking for it with your vibrational experiential experience. In other words, when you don't have to say the words, I want to be well, when you're sick. It's just a known given. And the sicker you are, the more your desire for wellness is. Like the more confused you are, the more desire for clarity you have, you see. So there is this equivalent other end of this wave, that when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. And this larger part of you that we've been describing to you, your inner being, the source within you, receives that request and becomes it. We write a book called Ask and It Is Given, and that's exactly what we're talking about. When life causes you to ask, source gives it. But the thing that's interesting is that source gives it and supports it and bees it vibrationally. But who do you think, we love this, who do you think it is up to bring this now into manifestation? You want source to do it. You want source to say, source, you saw the Holocaust, fix it. Source, you see that sick child, fix it. And we know it just drives you nuts that you can't get source or God or whatever it is you want to call this non-physical energy that you want to believe is benevolent to fix it. That's why you begin saying God must be a vengeful God, because we've been praying and asking and praying and asking and praying and asking. We must be doing something wrong. That's where you conjure all of that religious, ridiculous garbage about why God isn't answering our questions. We must not be standing on our head in the right way, or jumping through the right hoop in the right way, or belonging to the right religious group in the right way. And we say it's because that is not what source is. The holder of the vibration. You are the manifestors. You are the creative geniuses. Can you accept that? Can you feel that? Do you not understand that is your purpose, you see? So you come into physical form and you explore and you give birth to this powerful desire. And you add impetus to it and emphasis to it as you are now exploring it in a stronger way. And source and all of the resources of source have gathered all of the cooperative components, and it's all queued up, ripe for manifestation. But what is the majority of the world doing? Condemning Hitler, condemning the Holocaust, not even taking, in other words, it was not just one man. Do you know how many people, even in this nation, were compliant with the ideas that he was offering because it was convenient for them at the time to do that, you see? And so to make one demon out of all of that and use that demon as the representation of what you are pushing against. So most humans hold themselves vibrationally apart from the gift that you are wanting to give them, from the heaven that you're wanting to guide them to, because they are still problem-oriented rather than solution-oriented. So then, along comes someone who sees it different. Along comes someone who is able to understand that there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. In other words, there's got to be something there. And I, because I care about feeling good, am determined to find myself a way to be in vibrational alignment with, because let's back up and say that again. Of course, Source wants your well-being. And of course, Source is rooting for it and offering everything possible about it. But when someone like you finds vibrational alignment with the vortex and holds an intention to soothe something, and then manifestation comes back and allows it, that's when the soothing of that comes. And all soothing is the same way. In other words, vortex works first, then manifestation follows. Big topic. Enough?
Enough.
Yes, it is. So what was the highlight of that conversation? You are the bringers of the manifestation. And once you align with the vortex that you have helped to create, and with the Source who is the holder of the cooperative components, then aren't you just going to revel in the creation that you bring about? And is anyone here, probably not here, but maybe, so we want to address this, do you feel uncomfortable that you are the bringers of the manifestation, that you are the focusers of that? Were you happier when you thought God should do it? And you want to join the ranks of the others who are quibbling over why God isn't giving good stuff out equally?
Thank you for writing a chapter of my book.
It is our pleasure.